Welcome back. With us over the same topic is Dr. Ahmad Al-Laisi. Nasif is international economic expert. Good evening, Dr. Al-Laisi.
Good evening to you, ma'am.
How are you doing, sir? First of all, how do developments of the road network and infrastructural work in general boost and empower our economic map, and especially with investment at the same time?
Well, two things. The first of all, the investment in infrastructure and specifically building roads and what have you is a major source of generating employment for a very large section of the Egyptians' labor force. So obviously employment is one of the key performance indicators for any economy, and these mega projects employ a very large number of Egyptians. This is number one. Number two is any investment would require a very strong infrastructure and accessibility. So imagine that somebody wants to start a factory of just about anything. He needs to have these roads to be able to get his raw materials in and get his finished products out. If you don't have a good network of roads, the factory will be totally useless, because if you cannot bring in raw material into the factory will not be operational. And if you cannot bring out the whatever you produce, then there is no point of having this factory if you cannot sell or transport your output. So building the roads are extremely critical and really a cornerstone for any economic development, and especially if we want to bring in the foreign investments.
Right. The president's tour yesterday shows interest in all access, not a specific place. I mean, he has an overall, a wide scope of vision for Egypt's infrastructure. What is your assessment of what happened in the road and transportation network recently concerning
I think the President Sisi is doing something very unique that no other president has done in Egypt. President Sisi has a visionary or a strategic vision for what we're doing. If we look at many of the achievements we had in the past, say, for example, the bridge of the 6th of October. When it was built, it was just about right for the number of vehicles that it transports from one area to another. What President Sisi is doing is very different. Well, President Sisi looks for the future, and he does not build for today's needs. He builds for tomorrow's needs. And this is why sometimes we look at like a large 7 lanes or 8 lanes bridge or new road, and we wonder why. I remember, and I was very young at the time, when the bridge of 6th October was built, people thought that, this is like maybe, it's not large enough, and we can even, it was too large. And we can even see this actually in some of the old Egyptian movies that were shot at the time, and the 6th of October bridge was almost empty at all times. And the President Sisi is building for the future. He knows that we are multiplying, he knows that the population is growing, and he knows also that it's always cheaper to build today than tomorrow. Because what's going to cost you X today is going to cost you 3X tomorrow. And also, when you put it right from the first project, or you build the project, say 10 lanes, even if you're not going to use the 10 lanes today, it is still much, much more effective from an economic point of view and efficient than if you go and build it now 3, and then you need to expand it, so you build another 3, and you build another 3. That is going to be, a piecemeal that's going to be very, very expensive. And yes, if you start with the big number in the beginning from day one, it's going to be much, much cheaper.
Right.
And this is the vision that President Sisi has for the infrastructure in Egypt.
Right. What are the most important gains from development of the road network? Like you said, you talked about it at large for the country, for the nation, for the investment, but also talking about citizens and the consumption of their time and allowing them to the mobility also from one place to another, giving them opportunities for extra job chances, job opportunities, and probably like the new capital would need an infrastructural project. It would need a network of bridges and roads in order to be able for the citizens to seek more job opportunities at places like the new capital, for example. So what am I talking about is that the infrastructural projects and the road network of roads and bridges comes also to the best interest and best beneficiary for the citizen at the same time.
This is very true. I don't have all the numbers in my mind, but I remember hearing a presentation by His Excellency, the Prime Minister, and he has used the terminology that Cairo was becoming or being transformed or evolving to be a big parking spot where cars do not move, and we would have been at the risk of total almost paralysis in terms of circulation had we not built all these new axes and new flyovers and new bridges and roads. There is a number, I think, about $8 billion as an estimation of waste in terms of petrol consumed while cars are stuck in traffic, and the times. If we multiply the number of hours Egyptians used to spend stuck in a traffic jam, and I name here the period of the 70s, was probably the worst in that sense. Today, it is much less. Today, we cross Cairo, which is much bigger than what it used to be in the 70s, from east to west in 35 minutes. And that's a huge advancement and a huge saving for the Egyptians. But there is one thing I want to highlight here. President Sisi is not focusing only on the new capital. And we see yesterday he was checking the development towards the area of Masr al-Adima, which is probably one of the oldest parts of Cairo, as well as the area of Fustat and Al-Fakharin, which are very, very old parts of Cairo. So here, and I think this is why it makes a huge difference, that the evolution is not only coming for the new. It's not like we said, okay, or the president said, okay, you know what, this old Cairo, just drop it. We're not going to do anything about it or in it or for it. We're going to focus only on the new capital. This is not the case, actually. He's doing both at the same time. And again, the best proof was the visit and the tour he did, I think, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, to see the evolution and how to resolve the issue in the area of Masr al-Adima and Fakharin and Fustat. So we're building the new while we're fixing the old at the same time. And this requires tremendous effort to be able to work on both axes at the same time.
Right, of course, and most of us have recently, in the past 3 years, have seen the tremendous effect and change in Old Cairo, and the renovation of some of the beautiful places, turned into beautiful spots. They were, before, it was not organized at all. It was all garbage and it was all neglected. And then it turned into civilized museums, it turned into beautiful lakes, it turns into beautiful touristic destinations in Old Cairo. And of course, it is ongoing until this very moment. So talking also about challenges, of course.
Sorry, I just...
Come again? Hello? Hello? Are you there, Dr. Nasif?
Yes.
No,
I'm
I was
here.
not asking. No, I was not asking. I was commenting.
Okay. I
Okay,
just want a small comment, if I may, here.
right,
The president was talking about also removing all the infrastructure, removing all these, chaotic buildings or small cities or, Dubai and Zilzal and all these areas. But the president touched a very important part that many people did not really get the message. The danger is not just about the people living, but about the communities and the evolution and the young generation coming
right,
up in these sort of areas. These are actually extremely dangerous for Egypt more than anywhere else. If people are brought up in non-humane conditions, as they used to be until the president came in and he took the initiatives, and the initiatives are so many that I cannot name all of them, whether in Alexandria, whether in West Cairo, East Cairo. He has taken care of the people, and this is the thing that matters most. It is not just about the bricks and the steel and the material part. The human part is so much important because these are future generations, and if they were brought up in chaotic and in slums, what do we expect from them? Do we expect them to be a good contributor to the economy and to the country? Actually, the opposite is the only realistic expectation. And the president became aware of this very early. And this is why he has focused on reducing all these areas and just erasing them and giving people a decent life. It might not be very luxurious, but it has the minimum humane life. So any Egyptian that comes up in these areas comes up very proud of his country and his history and his culture, rather than what we saw also in some of the movies about, the chaotic parts of the country that people were brought up and it becomes just slum, a very good fertile land for crime and for terrorism.
right. On this note, Dr. Ahmad El-Laisi Nasif, you are international economic expert. I'd like to thank you, sir, talking to Cairo Local Time.